Have you ever just stopped and wondered, how do some people see the world so differently? You know, the ones building reusable rockets or creating entire new industries out of thin air. Today, we're going to try and deconstruct the thinking process behind these world-shaping innovators. Let's see if we can find the method behind the magic. So what is that thinking process? Seriously, how do you get inside the mind of someone who's literally reshaping industries right in front of us? To figure this out, let's look at one of the most talked about figures of our time as a case study, Elon Musk.
I mean, when you think of 21st century innovation, Elon Musk's name is, well, it's pretty much impossible to ignore, right? He's not just an entrepreneur. The guy's a serial disruptor, leading these companies that are just fundamentally rethinking everything, from how we pay for things, to our energy, to space exploration itself.
And this drive, it started early. I mean, as a kid in South Africa, he was totally obsessed with computers. But he wasn't just playing games. Get this. At just 12 years old, he actually coded and sold his first video game, a little something called Blastar. Now, this wasn't just some kid's hobby. It was the very first sign of that tech and business mindset that would basically define his entire career.
So when you look at his career, you start to see a pretty clear pattern emerge. He kicks things off in software with Zip2, then completely changes online payments with what became PayPal. But then his ambition just scales up, like dramatically. With SpaceX, he wasn't just trying to join the aerospace industry, he was aiming to make humanity a multiplanetary species. With Tesla, he basically forced the entire auto industry to go electric. And from Neuralink to X, you see that each step isn't just a new company, it's a massive leap into a totally different and way more complex field.
See, these aren't just businesses in the normal sense. They're more like all-out assaults on huge foundational problems. SpaceX didn't just build rockets. It built reusable ones, which completely changed the economics of getting to space. And Tesla? It didn't just make an electric car. It made electric cars cool, desirable, which forced the whole auto industry to pivot. In every single one of these cases, he's like a catalyst for innovation on a massive global scale.
So the big question is, how does one person drive that much change across so many different fields? It's not just about his leadership style, though that's part of it. At the very core, it's this relentless push to just throw out old assumptions and solve problems from the ground up, from what they call first principles. This really intense focus on deconstruction, that's the real engine driving all these companies.
And that approach, solving problems from the ground up, that's not just a personality quirk. It's a method, a system. So what if we could deconstruct that method itself? This is where we get to the idea of an innovator's toolkit. A way of thinking that lets you break down these massive, complicated challenges into their most basic, manageable pieces.
And honestly, that's the key. The method is the magic. It's this process of taking a super complex system, breaking it all the way down to its fundamental truths, and then rebuilding it in a much smarter, more logical way. Now, here's where it gets really exciting for you and me. What if you could apply that same method of deconstruction to your own learning? What if there was a tool designed to do exactly that?
Well, that's where this next part comes in. We're going to take a look at a tool that's designed for this exact purpose. It's called Notebook LM, and it's built to help you engage with complicated information in a totally new way, by basically letting you chat directly with your own sources.
So what exactly is it? Okay, think of Notebook LM as your own personal research assistant, one that actually lets you have a conversation with your documents. You can upload your own research, your notes, articles, whatever, and then interact only with that specific information. Or, if you want a more guided experience, you can explore topics that are already preloaded and ready to go. Basically, there are two main ways to use it. On one side, you have what they call featured notebooks. These come preloaded with curated, high-quality sources on a specific topic, like, say, the classic works of Jane Austen. But on the other side, and this is where it gets really powerful, you can create your own notebook. You upload your sources, which means you control all the information and you get to generate insights based on exactly what you're looking for. And getting started is incredibly simple. First, you just pick the specific documents you want to focus on. Second, you ask a question, just like you're talking to a person. And third, and this is the most important part, you get an answer that is generated only from the sources you provided. It's not going to search the wider internet. And get this, it even gives you citations, so it points you right back to the exact spot in the original text. It's pretty amazing.
You know, this really changes the game. All of a sudden, the power to deconstruct, to analyze, and to pull together ideas from complex information, that's not just for world-shaping innovators anymore. It's literally in your hands.
So, the big takeaway here is this. That same mindset, the one that deconstructs a problem down to its core to build something revolutionary like a reusable rocket, is now something you can access.
The tools to really, truly understand the complexities of our world and the people who are shaping it have never been more powerful or, frankly, more personal.
And that leaves us with one final and, I think, really exciting question. Now that you can have a direct conversation with your own handpicked knowledge, if you could deconstruct any complex topic, any person, or any big idea, what would you choose to dive into first?